Hello and welcome back to Branded. I'm your host, Sarah, and today I want to talk about the real reason you're getting seen, but maybe not chosen. And in this era of social media that we live in, it's blatantly obvious when you're getting seen, but you're not seeing the conversions on the other side. And this was something I experienced as well whenever I was first starting out because I was so worried about getting the visibility that I was being told was necessary for success. But at the same time, I wasn't being instructed on what kind of systems need to support that visibility. And often, more times than not, you don't have a visibility problem. People are finding you, right? They'll land on your website, they're watching your content on social, they're paying attention. So, yeah, you are being seen, but they're not choosing you. So, why, right? Well, when this is happening, our natural instinct, right, as the business owner is to look at the front of the business and be like, okay, what am I doing on the front side of my business that maybe I could be doing more? How can I get more visibility? But here's the thing. You're thinking maybe your messaging needs work, or maybe that hook you used wasn't strong enough, or maybe your sales page needs to be a little more clear. And those things might be true, but most of the time, that's not really the issue. Most of the time, the real issue is something underneath, something under the business that doesn't feel solid. And I'm not saying like visually, I'm saying structurally. So let me explain a little bit what I mean by that. Established buyers are not just evaluating based on what you say. That's such a small part of the conversion equation for an established buyer. They're evaluating the environment that they're going to be stepping into. And if that evaluation is happening in a split second, because it is, right? So, what do we have, like 7 seconds or something when meeting somebody in person for first impressions? It's even less digitally. It's like 3 seconds or less or something. It's wild. So, they're evaluating whether they want to step into your environment very quickly. They're asking themselves questions like, does this feel thought out? Does this feel stable? Does this feel like something that is already running properly? Or does it feel like something that's maybe been duct taped together? This is the difference between a business that feels like a layered mess and a business that feels locked in. When you layer your business, right? You're like, I'm doing this and this and this and this and this, and you never really fix the foundation. When you layer a business like that, I mean, yeah, you can grow fast. Totally possible to grow fast. An offer expands, a new program gets added, your website gets updated. Maybe you patch in an automation, right? Just to support something new that you're doing. So none of these efforts, none of these changes that you're making are wrong by any means. But over time, the structure underneath your business starts to carry multiple versions of these like one-off decisions that you've been making. So you might find that you've got old onboarding workflows that are out there and live. You've got pages that were written for an entirely different offer when you're like link in bio for your new offer and it links to the old stuff. You've got automations that were added so quickly and they were never really fully built that they don't actually operate. But the business itself, it still looks polished, but it's not actually settled. So buyers can feel that, especially established buyers, especially high ticket. So it's not because, they're analyzing your systems, because they're not. This is a very intangible feeling that a buyer has when they approach a business that feels duct taped together. That feeling of having a solid, settled, like on purpose kind of foundation, that transfers to your buyer 100%. When a business is structurally clean, the experience of interacting with it, it feels effortless. So someone finds you, they understand the offer immediately. The path into that offer feels so simple and nothing feels messy or improvised. It feels like stepping into something that is already working. And that's when decisions get made. That's when they're a fuck yes, let me buy this because this is the environment I want to step into. I want to look at this from the other side as well, though, because as the founder, your experience matters also. In fact, it probably matters more because you're the one creating these things. You're the one day in and day out experiencing these things in your business. So obviously, it's important for the client journey to create that repeat business, referral business, just get the conversion from the get-go. It's important to have that clean structure for that purpose. But honestly, it is so much more important to have that clean structure for the purposes of you as a founder running that business. So when your business is still structurally dependent on you, and let's say you're promoting something, you're also thinking about the back end. What's going to be happening? You're selling an offer while wondering if the onboarding for that offer still needs to be updated. You're directing people to a sales page while remembering, oh shit, I have that one section of the page that I haven't rewritten yet. So you're visible, right? That's why visibility isn't really the problem. You're visible, you're there, but part of your attention is always supervising the infrastructure. And if you just ignore it, you're like, okay, I'm going to ignore this. I'm not going to say what's wrong out loud because then that makes it real. I'll get to it eventually. You could do that. But today, right now, today, it's changing how you show up. So why not give it the attention it needs today, not eventually? Instead of being excited to invite people in, you're going to find yourself constantly monitoring what happens if they actually say yes. That's like an added pressure and stress. Why? Why? Why would you want that? That kind of split focus is so subtle, which is why we deal with it for so long, but it matters. It changes how you show up. It changes how your day to day operates. The job of marketing, when you're thinking about visibility and you're like, okay, I need new marketing strategy, the job of marketing is to transmit certainty to the buyer. So when the structure underneath the business that you're marketing isn't fully settled, isn't fully solid, certainty becomes a much harder thing to convey. So again, the real issue is not visibility, it's reinforcement. And at a certain stage of business, buyers aren't just asking whether an offer is good, right? They're asking whether the environment around that offer feels mature enough for them to step into. They're asking things like, does this business look like it was built really fucking fast? Or does it feel like it's already been refined, like it was designed on purpose? These are two very different signals that you're sending out. So the question is no longer, how do we grow this business, right? The question becomes, does the structure this business sits on, can it actually hold? And there is a simple way to check this in your own business. One question for you. If 10 people were to enter your highest level offer today, would you feel calm about it? Not excited, right? But just calm. You're like, yeah, awesome. 10 people, great. Highest ticket offer, they're in, everything's flowing. Or would you have this freak out because you're just not sure that you trust every step? that you really aren't sure if the confirmation emails are going. You're really not sure that the onboarding is clear. You can't remember if you have the link for them to access the portal that they need to get into. You definitely don't have an internal notification because you didn't even know the purchase happened, right? What's that client flow? Are you having to make all of these manual adjustments? Are you doing these last minute checks? Are you stepping in halfway through because you have to correct something every single time? So that's not a business running properly, right? And that's not a business that an established buyer is going to choose. When the infrastructure is solid, visibility stops feeling like extra pressure and starts feeling like an opportunity for an expansion. And that's the difference between a business that depends on its founder and a business that is built or rebuilt, right? Depending how far along you are, to operate properly. And this rebuilding stage that I'm referring to, this is where most established businesses eventually find themselves, anyways. Not because anything's broken, but because growth starts to expose what was built really quickly. It starts to expose those little gaps in the foundation, and that's just the nature of it. So if you're at this point, don't feel badly, right? There is no judgment or shame about it. This is about awareness. As I've said before, awareness in your business is a superpower. You can catch things as they happen if you're paying attention. And at a certain point, refinement becomes the real level up. Not more visibility, not a viral TikTok, right? Refinement in your business where you know that every part of it is reinforced by a system that doesn't rely on you. That's the real level up. So if you're getting seen but not chosen, the question is, it's not how do I get more attention? The question is, does this business feel solid enough to receive the attention that I want? Because don't forget, established buyers move towards businesses that feel like they're designed on purpose, like they are settled and refined. And once the structure underneath your business reaches that level of like solidity, all that visibility that you're looking for, it starts converting very differently. I hope this episode gave you something to think about. If you enjoyed it, please leave a rating and review. Share it with a friend who maybe needs to hear this, who's like, I post every single day, but nothing's happening. This could be why, right? So, information is power. Let's share the wealth. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next week for a brand new one. Bye, guys.